One thing that I learned by working with you is, I saw a lot of people always focused on the monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the
But
child
I'm
support
like,
payment.
Child support payment.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned, what about after school? What about life insurance? Do
Right.
they have to have disability insurance?
Right.
What are other things that people need to be factoring in if they're going through a child support case?
Right,
What
which we
they
don't
should be
think about.
asking for, or what should they expect that their child's other non-custodial parent has? Disability insurance, life insurance, to make sure that those payments continue.
Which one are we talking about? We're talking about the mom with the custody. What should she focus on, or what should dad focus on?
Which direction we want
Which
to
I
go?
don't know.
Which
It sounds
side?
like they're two different things. I think I want to hear both.
There are. Let's say if you're dad,
Right.
you need to make certain that you set yourself up to make the payments. But of course, you've got the child support. Either one of you is going to be obligated to pay for the insurance, and that's already going to be factored in the worksheet.
Okay.
So let's say if you're dad and you're ordered to provide the insurance, and let's say you work a corporate job and then you lose that job, well, you better go get some insurance because you'll be in contempt if you don't. And so that would be probably medical, dental, vision, orthodontic. You've got to go get the insurance. Some dads are forward thinking and they go get the disability insurance.
Right. Is that required, or is that
No, it's not. So if a dad becomes disabled, he needs to file a modification of that child support ASAP. And that's one of the cases where you don't have to wait 2 years for the modification. If you've got a drop in income over 25%, and you don't see where it's going to change, you need to go file a modification quickly. That's a mistake I think a lot of gentlemen make. Their dynamic changes as far as their finances, and they keep thinking, well, especially people in the entertainment industries, they keep thinking, well, I'm going to have another hit,
Right.
or I'm going to produce another track, or I'm going to find another artist, I'm going to find another one just like this one I had.
Right.
And so, when the music industry went from sales to basically streams,
Right.
the income changed drastically.
Right.
And so if you've got an order from 2007 or so, and your money is funny now,
Right.
you need to go file for a modification and stop thinking about, well, I know I'm going to come up, because the arrearages are stacking up.
Right.
And when those arrearages stack up, there's all sorts of things that can happen. We talked about a tax intercept of any refunds. That's if they're filing taxes.
Right.
License can be suspended. Professional licenses can be suspended. Passport can be suspended.
Right.
So what a gentleman does not want to do is let his child support arrearages get out of hand.
Right.
And file that modification. Nothing's automatic.
And how should the mother? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, when she was talking about arrears, I was just wondering how far back can they go when we talk about arrears.
What do you mean? The
Like,
arrears
does
are old.
It just like it add up. There's no cutoff, no cap.
Conception.
No, it has to be a court order. Georgia doesn't have it where you file child support and let's say you waited till the child is 7.
Right.
And now you want to go back to 1.
Right.
No.
Got it.
Oh.
You're going to pay child support from the moment you have a temporary hearing going forward.
Okay.
Now, arrearage comes into place where there is a child support order and you're not paying as ordered, and a period of time goes by and that arrearage starts mounting and mounting. That's why I say if your circumstances have changed and you can't pay the child support, you must go file a modification. No one's going to do that for you.
Right.
Not even at the child support office. I don't know why guys think, well, they know I lost my job. Well, they know they're a collection agency too.
Right.
And that's all they do.
Right.
Now, they will tell you, hey, after 3 years, you can come on in. But, if you lost your job in year 1,
Right.
you're going to wait till you get 3 years of arrearages. Now
Right.
there's probably, you could be arrested for not paying child support.
Right.
It's criminal.
Right.
It's called abandonment.
One thing I've learned dealing with a relative that we have, although their children were very adult, they were still paying their arrears because they hadn't paid. So children were in their 20s, but they were still paying child support because they had gotten so far behind.
Correct.
And I was like, this is insane to me. Like, you don't even have kids anymore. You have adults,
Right.
but you're still paying.
The obligation is still owed,
Especially
especially if mom has been pursuing it the whole time.
Right.
I had a case once where I represented the mother, and she did not pursue child support arrearage for like 13 years. And in that particular case, the judge let it go back 7 years. He didn't let it go back the whole 13.
Because
she was dilatory in getting the child's money.
Gotcha.
Right.
And you got to remember, the money is not for you, it's for the
It's
child.
for the kids, right.
That's right.
And that's why I think a lot of fathers get upset and don't want to pay it, because they think it's for the mother.
Yeah.
But you've got to factor in all the needs that the child has, in addition to having somewhere to live.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. So if someone just, decided to, they done hooked up, had a child, but they have a good relationship,
Right.
do you think it's important to make child support like mandatory?
Let's say if they're still in the relationship, I think it's important for the father, while they're in a good relationship, to legitimate the child. Because if they break up, he has no rights.
Right.
And if you're still in the relationship, you could do the legitimation by consent. And it could be a fairly quick process.
Got it.
So that's imperative, I think.
Gotcha.
That's to legitimate, but what about paying child?
Like I need to put you on child support. Yeah, you're paying me. You're being a good father. But should a person, the custodial parent, feel like I need to put you on child support?
Well, I mean, if they're still together, I would say no. But if you think that, you're not necessarily going to still be together, it's important. And I have had people that are still in a relationship and that will go ahead. They will both agree to a certain amount and actually do an uncontested proceeding.
And the reason, the reason why I ask that is because I know sometimes, a person, the custodial parent, because I don't want to keep saying a mom, because it could be a dad too, but
Right.
The custodial parent may feel like, one day you may flip the script on me, or you may get married. So is it just, I guess I would automatically think like that's just the right thing to do.
Certainly. And some people who are together do it because the father may have other children, that he may have had before, and sometimes after theirs. But they're still together. And so when there is a child support order and dad is paying, that is factored into the worksheet. So a lot of people do it by consent for that reason,
Right.
because they know that there's either a prior or a future or a subsequent child, and you want that to be factored into the worksheet.
Got it. That's so good.
I think I sort of asked this before, but I want to look back to it. So if I'm receiving child support, can I require that the non-custodial parent have life insurance?
Life insurance, yes. That will insure the child support obligation.
Yes, so I can ask for that.
Yes,
Okay.
and a court will, I've never seen a court deny it when it's been requested.
Okay. I think people need to be very conscientious about that
Yeah.
because God forbid something life
Right.
happens
Yeah,
every day.
because like you said, all you think about is that monthly check.
Right.
You don't think about the insurance and
Right.
any other
The
thing.
insurance is
Absolutely.
imperative, and it at least needs to be in the amount of the remaining child support obligation. I've even had some cases where the judge ordered it, but he ordered it to be in the amount, and the father had to provide annual proof of
yeah.
that insurance.
I've seen them have to ask.
And
provide proof, yeah.
if his, the child is getting older, and so you're going to have to pay X amount for 5 years. Now it's 4, now it's 3. The amount of that insurance decreased. But most of the time, the judge will just say, you need to maintain $500,000 in life insurance with the minor child listed as the beneficiary thereof, but maybe to the parent in trust. Because a child as a minor can't be the actual beneficiary, but on behalf of the child.
Yeah. Can I ask another modification question?
Sure.
So I know when we were talking about modification, we was talking about when, say, for instance, the father's income
Yes.
goes down.
Yes.
So I would assume it would be the same for I'm going to say the mother in this case, or the custodial parent, if they see that the person's income is going up.
They file modifications all the time when they see, hey, he's got a new whip.
Yeah.
He's got a new house.
Where's my raise at?
You know what I'm saying? When
Where's
we
my lifestyle adjustment?
when we filed child support, he was making $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
he's making $1,000 a minute, and I
Yeah.
want some of it.
Come on now.
I get those modifications all the time. That has come up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Baby boy need to come up too. Baby girl does too.
Yeah, need a new pair of shoes, baby.
Yes.
New pair of shoes. Yes.
I have those cases all the time.
Wow.
So what do you do in those situations where the person that's paying child support makes cash? Like they're getting cash money in that?
Not a problem for me.
Oh,
No, not a problem. Not a problem. Because if you're getting paid cash, you have a certain lifestyle. So when you have a child support case, you have a domestic relations financial affidavit that is mandatory, where you put your monthly income and expenses. So you can't put on a financial affidavit that your income is $2,000 a month, but then your mortgage is $3,000,
Right.
And your car note is this, and your car note is that.
Right.
Even if you produce your bank statements and there's just no cash in there, I've had courts say the court can impute income. Okay?
Just
They can impute it. So if your financial affidavit says you spend $17,000 a month, and you're saying my income's only $2,000, I'll ask the judge to impute $17,000 as your monthly income. You see, because if you're paying it out, you get it from somewhere. Oh, I'm getting loans from family. I pay with credit cards. Well, I see the credit card bills are being paid too.
Right.
So normally in the discovery process, in order to prove that to a judge, you would ask for, okay, there's no paycheck stubs. Well, I want bank statements. I want credit card statements. I want tax returns. I need to see your lifestyle.
that's discovery, right?
That's called discovery. So you do requests for production of documents directly to the person. You do interrogatories. You may do third-party requests to the bank.
Directly, right.
You may have the social and find out, hey, you knew about 2 bank accounts, but there's this third one over here. So if you send that request over to the bank with those last 4 on that social, no telling what kind of surprise will come in your package when it arrives,
So are is that like the same for people who are self-employed, not just for people who make cash?
Absolutely. Self-employed people, there are very legitimate things that you can do to minimize your income. And I have to educate self-employed people all the time. First of all, please have a business and a personal account, and they are separate. Do not pay personal expenses out of the business account, because now we may break that corporate veil, and now the judge might look at all the income in that corporate account.
Because you mixed it all together.
Right. Now, don't pay business expenses out of your personal account either.
Right.
So many people commingle, and that is where they really mess up.
Right.
I say pay yourself a salary, okay? That's W-2 income.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a month that you can't pay yourself a salary, don't do it.
Right.
If there's a month where you need more money, write yourself or have the other person, like Chennai Thornton, write you in advance. All right? Then you can pay that back from your personal account, but do not pay personal expenses out of the business account, and do not pay business expenses out of your personal account. That is a no-no. If you can't get Chennai, get something like a service like an ADP or something.
Right.
They charge minimal fees. They don't give the same type of tax advice, but they can at least do your paycheck.
Right, which is important.
That's imperative. It is absolutely imperative. You cannot go in there and say, well, I'm self-employed and I don't really have paychecks. You are not a really legitimate business person if you do not have a paycheck or some sort of documentation of what your income is.
Right.
You're leaving yourself open for the court to just impute it.
Right.
And turn over more documents too, which is
Right.
scary.
Well, you just got to have your business and your personal separated and have your affairs in order.
Right.
That's why you need a CPA to help if you're that type of individual where your business is thriving. You need to have your business together.
Right.
So with discovery, does a self-employed individual seem to have to turn in more paperwork than W-2 employees?
They have more.
Yeah.
They
That makes
have
sense.
business expenses and, you commingle. You can't have, for instance, a mortgage payment on your financial affidavit, and then you turn in your personal bank documents, and there's no mortgage payment on there.
Right.
Which means you are now paying your mortgage out of your business account, which is a problem. Now, is that home titled in the business name? That may be something that your CPA may be able to work out for you.
Right.
But if your home is titled in your name, and you're paying your mortgage out of your business account, that income's going to be imputed to you. That's a problem.
As it should be. Right.
As it should be. And a lot of people think, well, my CPA fixes everything at the end of the year.
Right. No magic.
They go and reconcile everything. That just doesn't work well in court, I find.
No.
Yeah.
You mentioned myths at the beginning. So what are some common child support myths?
Well, the first one that I mentioned is that of course, the child support agency will work for you, non-custodial father.
Right.
Myth. The second myth in that same regard is the child support office cannot modify your child support except every 3 years. Myth.
Right.
Let me think of another one. I signed a birth certificate, therefore I have rights. Myth.
Show enough myth.
I've heard that one.
Show enough myth.
Yeah. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Oh my God. Do not pay child support in cash because you're not going to get credit for it. That's a gift. That's called a gift. Another thing, a gentleman will think, let's say he has a child support order and it's being paid through the Department of Child Support Services, right? And then he and the mother discuss it, and she decides she wants her child support directly, and so she's going to stop the collection. And in fact, she said, you don't even have to pay me child support because you're going to buy me this car, right? Okay, you're going to buy me a car. You don't have to pay me child support. Well, it doesn't work like that. She can stop the collection, but she cannot stop the obligation. The only thing that changes a court order is another court order or the court order expiring. So a lot of people think, well, the mom and I worked it out. She, quote, took me off child support. She can,
yes, I've heard that one.
No, she cannot modify a court order.
Right.
That's a huge one.
Right.
Oh my God, here's another one. Mom decides, I can't deal with your son. He's horrible.
Right.
I'm going to drop him off at your house. So now dad has the child and has filed nothing in court. Well, your child support obligation is still calculating. It's still accruing.
Right.
You have to go file a petition for a change of custody. You can't just have the child. Now, some judges will give you credit, but it's kind of discretionary, and do you want to risk that?
Yeah.
Also, I've had cases where men have had the child for years.
Right.
2, 3 years. Now he wants to get engaged and get married. Mom comes right over there and takes the child.
Hot.
Right.
You have no court order.
Man.
So I don't care. Now you can file something, but when that mother drops that child off, and it's more than 30 days, you need to get your behind over to the courthouse and
Right
get
away.
a change of custody filed, because your obligation is accruing and you really don't have rights to custody. She can bring the police over there and drag that child out kicking and screaming.
Right.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
What if again, just gonna assume the mother's the custodial parent. What if
Okay.
she's like, I'm behind on my car note or my car insurance or my electric bill. Will you just pay this for me directly?
Nope.
Don't do it.
Nope.
Because
Because you're not getting credit for it
You
as
don't
child
get-
support. Unless you write her a, like if you're paying directly, and let's say you've already paid for August, and
Right.
she needs this, make sure you write down that September child support and make it in the amount of the child support. When you give amounts that are other than the child support amount, the judge could very well call that a gift
Just a
and
gift.
notate
Yeah.
that is child support. So if you're writing a check, which hardly anyone does,
Right.
make sure you put child support. If you're paying with the Cash App, put
Put it in the
child
memo.
support. If you're doing a transfer, you're both at Bank of America and you just want to transfer and there's
Right.
no opportunity to put something in the memo, put the child support amount to her, not $1 over. Because you know, the judge might say, oh, she can testify, oh no, that was for little Jimmy's go-kart that we bought.
right.
Needs to be the child support amount. Of course, you got a bank like Wells Fargo. When you do a transfer, you can put what the memo is.
What it is.
You
Right.
can put child support. You have to be consistent with that, because you got to make certain that you're protecting yourself, and always think in the back of your mind, we're cool now, but what if we're not? How do
Yeah.
I protect myself? How do I not pay double child support?
Right.
How do I not pay, $50,000 again? I just had a case with a guy, and he was paying, the mother was telling him to put the child support in her mother's account, or in this account, or in that account. So that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he wasn't putting the amount in there. She was doing just what Janai said. I need an extra $500 for
Yeah.
this. He's like, well, okay, that's going to be child support. And she goes, okay. And then we get in court, and she's like, I don't know why he was putting that money in my mother's account.
Oh, wait.
That's not even the correct child support amount. The child support amount is X, and he put Y into my mother's account.
Right. Come up.
I feel like I want to just say everything you just said again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just so you didn't hear this,
Right.
this is what you need to do.
Right.
That's
I
so
mean,
sad.
people have to protect themselves because it's always easy when things are going well to presume they're going to always go well. I had a gentleman who, in the entertainment industry, mom said, I would like for you to pay for this private school tuition instead of paying me child support. Now, at that time, his child support was not going through a child support agency. So he just paid the tuition directly. Well, she subsequently got mad about something or another and went through the agency to get child support. And 2, 3, 4, however many years it was, she said he didn't pay her child support all those years. Now, he had paid tuition, but he hadn't paid child support. And do you know they found that he had to pay all that back child support. The court order did not require him to pay private school, but he did it anyway. And he kind of jammed himself up. He's like, well, I want my daughter to this and that. Well, that's fine, but you should have done something in court to make certain that you got the proper credit for it, and you did not.
Right.
And if she says you had an agreement and you really did, but then she says you don't,
Right.
you know, maybe try to get it in writing, but I think it's better to err on the side of caution, file something with the court, and modify it or whatever you're going to do. But he should have paid it to her as child support and let her pay the school. He paid the school directly.
Right.
That's where he went wrong.
Right. Have you ever seen a situation where someone might have been paying child support and then find out that the child is not theirs?
Yes.
And what happens in those situations?
They can stop paying, but I've never seen a court order that the money be paid back to them.
Wow.
Haven't seen
That's
it.
what I was going to ask.
If it has happened, I just haven't had it happen in any of my cases. Court's like, well, the kid had to be supported by somebody. Shoot. Sorry.
So that doesn't.
But listen, now in Georgia, they changed the law where if you're not married, you need to get a paternity test, even if y'all live together, because like we said, mama's baby, papa's baby, you have got to have a paternity test. I recommend that
the paternity test and the legitimate.
Yes, when you file the petition to legitimate, the paternity test is required.
Oh, unless that's automatically.
Nothing's automatic. You got to put it in the pleadings. Put it in the pleadings. But mom can't say no.
Right.
Like, years ago, if the child was a certain age and then dad waited late to file the petition, some judges will say, well, hey, that kid is 10 now. You can't get a paternity test. Like some people are together, and then they don't fall out until the kid is much older. So I've had cases in the past where the judge said, well, hey, you should have found that out before now, son.
Yeah.
But now,
Now
but now, if you wait until 10, if you wait until age 10 and you're just filing the legitimation, you can ask for the paternity test and it's required.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
So what if you've been paying child support and you don't like how the money is being used?
Too bad. There are court cases that say you cannot talk about how the money is being spent.
Wow.
Nothing.
Too bad and so sad.
Right.
You may want to try to get custody or something, but you can't dictate how the money is spent, especially when the child is being taken care of. Child has to have somewhere to live. Child has to have a car to ride in. Of course, you don't like how mom bought the Range Rover with your child support money. I get that. But that's her business. You do want your child to be in a safe vehicle, don't you?
Right.
So can you request to pay certain things directly? Or,
You can pay certain things directly, like daycare, private school.
Okay.
That's about it.
Really?
And that will reduce the amount of child support that you pay?
It depends on the facts and circumstances, because now what people would do is when we would put child support through the worksheet all the time, let's say when you go to court, the child is 1. And so, the cost for a 1-year-old in daycare is a lot cheaper it's a lot more expensive than aftercare. Right. All right. So as the child gets older, the daycare obligation goes down, but there's no automatic modification of child support.
Right.
So what people used to do in the past is while we're in court, they'll go to the Suzuki school or one of these other schools that are $1,750, $1,800, $3,000, and get the child support amount way up here.
Right.
Oh,
And
wow.
and then when the case is over, they'll take them over to like Kids Are Kids.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yes. I've
but
heard of
the
that.
order,
I've heard of that.
but the order is the order.
Wow.
So dad would then have to go file a modification.
Wow.
But we've changed that up now. So now courts, if dad wants the child support to be paid directly, he can demand that. That's just since July 1st of 2018. So now we could take those type of expenses out and just put maybe the health insurance
Okay.
in the worksheet and have the child support or the private school paid directly to the service provider, the school.
Hi, I know you enjoyed this wonderful information from attorney Tanya Mitchell Graham. Make sure you tune in next week to hear more.